did want to talk here at the top just about some transfer portal stuff as Nebraska kind of deals with incoming transfers, outgoing transfers. Obviously off the top, as we broke over this weekend, Nebraska is set to bring, or early last week, we broke that Nebraska is bringing in Fresno State transfer linebacker Phoenix Jackson in for a visit on December 11th. Nebraska's, kind of sandwiched in. They're in the top group there for Jackson. He was a productive linebacker, a guy that was the, I think, third highest graded linebacker in coverage this year per PFF. And you kind of look at his frame, you look at the film, and kind of where he would fit in. I think more of a weak side type linebacker, potentially even like a rover, and what Nebraska wants the rover position to be. I think he could be a potential candidate for that. Type of early incoming or an early addition, a guy that would be able to contribute early on campus. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be one of the more important visits this week. More of these visits are getting scheduled as we speak. More of these visits are going to get scheduled here in the coming days. So stay tuned to Inside Nebraska, InsideNebraska.com for all of our updates. Also on social media, we'll have updates as they come in. Jackson's a big one. I expect Nebraska to hit the portal for one or two more linebacker slash safety types. Keep an eye. Another one worth keeping an eye on, Louisville transfer Devin Neal Jr. He's a guy that's had a lot of experience and has been in college football so long. He technically committed to Matt Rule at Baylor. He committed about a year before he signed. So when Matt Rule was still at Baylor, he stuck with his Baylor pledge. Ultimately, did transfer. Was at Louisville. Has been productive. Sat out this season. And has, I think, one more year of eligibility left. So would keep an eye on Nebraska there. He's kind of managing his process close to vest. Said he's keeping things quiet for now, but I'd expect Nebraska to be a player there. Just they're looking for veteran safeties. I expect veteran defensive backs to be a priority for the staff here this cycle. Obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, you're going to see. I mean, obviously as well with some of the defensive losses on the defensive line. I think you're going to see some line transfers in, or at least they're going to try and get some guys on the line. Wouldn't even also surprise me to see one or two of the defensive linemen that have entered the portal potentially come back if Nebraska is able to get things done. Obviously, they got the news over the weekend that Emmett Johnson is no longer planning to enter the portal and will come back to Nebraska. Good work from Dana Holgorsen, Matt Rule, and the staff to get that done and keep Emmett in the fold. That's a big piece to Nebraska's offense in 2025 and moving forward. I think he kind of recognizes like under Dana Holgorsen, there's an opportunity to be a weapon in the offense and have a full stretch of a productive season. So, or full productive season rather than, kind of came on strong at the end here at the end of 2024. Wide receiver is going to be another one between DeKel Shorts, Dana Holgorsen. I expect Nebraska to be, aggressive there. Can already say Nebraska will, I'm expecting them to be in the mix for Dane Key, transfer receiver out of Kentucky, their leading receiver, a guy many believes the future NFL wide receiver, could even ultimately declare for the draft if he so chose to this year, if he hears good enough feedback from his agents and from the NFL, but more than likely will be entering the portal. Or is in the portal and will try and find a new destination. Keep an eye on a couple SEC schools, but Nebraska is also, I fully expect Nebraska to be in that mix. Nebraska is also going to be in the mix of a few other top receivers, some that haven't even entered the portal just yet, some that may not enter the portal, but I know Nebraska is working on a couple guys right now. And I'll also say this, this is that time of the year where things are chaotic and things are moving quick. Do be wary of news and certain reporting. Nebraska is going to end up being mentioned in some recruitments, even if they're not really involved, just because of the NIL ability Nebraska has. At this point, schools across the country and agents across the country view Nebraska as a power player in the NIL field. 1890 is aggressive. 1890 does put up sizable and competitive offers. And so there's going to be times you're going to see Nebraska mentioned with prospects, but ultimately that those sometimes are going to be mentioned solely to drive the price up for another program. There may not be any real interest, but Nebraska is going to get mentioned. Just it's something worth keeping an eye on, and why we're going to be very careful in who we report as true interest and who we report. Or who we choose not to report, even if others are saying there's some Nebraska interest there. For now, Dane Key is a receiver worth keeping an eye on in the portal. I'd expect Dana Holgorsen and DeKel Shorts to have their eye on a lot of different films here in these next couple of weeks to try and figure out how to build out the offense and add some pass catching talent alongside Ja'Cory Barney and Carter Nelson. And Jenner and Bonner and some of the guys in that room. I think they're looking for a big body. I think they'd like to add a guy with some return ability as well. And someone that can do a lot of different things for in the offense. You have a Ja'Cory Barney right now. Demetrius Bell, when he comes back, is another gadget type receiver that can do a lot of those similar things. You landed Cortez Mills. You flipped him on signing day. Those are things that I think Nebraska has right now are offensive playmakers that can do some stuff across the middle and can create after the catch, but they do need some big bodies that can go downfield and extend, stretch the field vertically, can go downfield, go up and get throws. Looking at Dylan Raiola this year, some of his favorite throws were those back shoulder fades, those kind of 50-50 balls that he throw up to Jamal Banks or Isaiah Nair. And so, you need someone that can be on the receiving end of those. And some of those guys may be on campus. I still do expect Nebraska to be a developmental program first. Another offseason could be really helpful for a guy like Quinn Clark, for a guy like Carter Nelson, to take that step from, freshman figuring it out, from moving up from 8-man to 11-man to like a full-time starter or a full-time contributor. This could be a big offseason for those two guys. So I definitely keep an eye on that here in the portal. But yeah, we'll have updates as they come in over at InsideNebraska.com. Stay locked in over there to our transfer tracker, to the insiders board as we have updates on portal targets and portal news.